أعوذ بالله أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على محمد وعلى أهله وصحبه أجمعين. SubhanAllah, some of the points I'm going to talk about, Sheikh Uthman recited it in the first rak'ah especially. Assalamu alaikum. I'm going to speak today about martyrdom or Shahada. We've talked about this before in the past, but just to go into a little bit more detail. And also, inshallah, it can give us some comfort because of all the Muslims in the world, especially in Gaza, who are being killed in so many different ways. But we need to know that they are dying as a shaheed or as a martyr, and we'll discuss what the reward is that Allah tells us. So in Islam, the concept of Shahada or martyrdom extends beyond those just killed in battle for the faith. So we typically think of those that die just fighting in the cause of Allah, like the Sahaba when they were fighting in Uhud or in Badr or any of the other battles. And yes, this is definitely one of the ways, but there are many other ways as well that are described in multiple hadith, outlining other types of martyrs. So again, the person who is killed fighting in the cause of Allah against an enemy, this is the most common type of martyr that we think about. But also those who die from the plague, so an infection in a city or a town where multiple people are succumbing to it, some kind of bacteria or virus. So perhaps those who died of COVID, for example, would be considered martyrs, because this was a plague that was all over the world. And the infection being severe, going into septic shock or some other form of organ failure causing them to die. Those who die of a stomach ailment, so some issue in the abdominal area with the intestines, so someone who dies of colon cancer or some intestinal blockage, or it could be in multiple ways. So Umar radiallahu anhu, we know, was stabbed in his abdomen and eventually died from a bowel perforation. So he had two stipulations for martyrdom. That he was killed, someone stabbed him, but subhanAllah, he didn't die right away. As we know, he took him some days, some time to die, because the death from intestinal perforation doesn't happen immediately. So it's dying from a stomach ailment. And then those that drown, so someone who drowns in the water, it doesn't necessarily have to be that you're fully submerged. So someone such as children, they can die in a bathtub just by having their face in the water. Their whole body doesn't have to be in the water, just their face blocking the breathing. So dying by drowning, or dying from being crushed under a collapsed structure. So those who die in earthquakes, those who are dying in Gaza, from the bombs and the missiles hitting their homes and being crushed by the bricks and the concrete. Those people are also considered as martyrs. Other categories, dying from some type of chest infection, pleurisy, so some infection within the chest cavity, also maybe a cancer. They are also considered martyrs. Someone who dies from a burn, and we know burns are one of the most painful ways to die, including abdominal obstructions as well. But burns, so more than 60-70% body surface area burn, it's a high likelihood that the person is going to not survive. And again, it can take some time for them to burn. It may be that the total body surface area is so high that eventually they get some kind of infection in their skin and they die from that, but they died from their original burn. someone who is protecting property or protecting his family or his religion. So not necessarily in a war against an enemy to Islam, but someone who's protecting his property and is killed, or protecting his family. Those are also considered martyrs. And then a big category, which we don't always remember, is a woman who dies during childbirth. So a woman who is delivering a baby, and for whatever reason, she ends up dying as a result of the childbirth or during the childbirth, from bleeding, from an infection, from a bleed in her head. This would also be a category of those who die as a martyr. And then it's even described that someone who sincerely is asking to die as a martyr, who always in his prayers he asks Allah, please Allah, give me the reward of dying as a shaheed, and sincere in his dua. And he does not attain this physically, but this was in his heart, and Allah Alam, Allah may reward him this incredible gift. And then to go into the Hadith Qudsi from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala about martyrs. Let me just pull it up here. So on the authority of Masruq, who said, we asked Abdullah ibn Mas'ud about a verse, and do not regard those who have been killed in the cause of Allah as dead, rather are they alive with their Lord being provided for. Surah An-Nisa, chapter 3, verse 169. He said, we asked about that, and the Prophet ﷺ said, the souls of the martyrs are in the insides of green birds, and they are residing in lanterns suspended from the arsh, roaming freely in paradise where they please. And then they go back and take shelter in the lanterns. So they're in the lanterns, they go out and fly around in paradise and Jannah. The lanterns are hanging from the arsh of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they fly around as they please, and then they go back to the lanterns. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cast a glance at them and said, do you wish for anything? So he's asking the souls of the martyrs, and they said, what shall we wish for when we roam freely in paradise where we please? And Allah asked them 3 times. And then when they saw they were not going to be spared from being asked, they said, oh my Lord, we would like for you to put back our souls into our bodies so that we may fight for your sake once again and die in your cause, or that whatever their illness was, or whatever way it was that they died as a shaheed. So they asked Allah, the thing that we would want is to die again in your name and in your cause. And when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saw that they were not in need of anything, they were let be. So Allah has such a high category for those who die as martyrs, and we think of how many thousands of Muslims throughout time have died as martyrs in the categories that we described, and they are in Jannah right now. Allah Alam, there's some people dying right now as we speak as martyrs somewhere in the world, and we know that every day this is happening in Gaza and other areas where Muslims are under oppression. May Allah help them to be rewarded by Allah in the Jannah, flying as birds, and may He grant us the honor of dying as shaheed as well. Jazakumullah khair.